Just 1 week ago, South African Tyla Rattray's 250 win helped him stay within striking distance of France's Christophe Pourcel at the top of the standing. Pourcel and Rattray, along with Canadian Dean Wilson, all on Kawasaki's, have given a decidedly international flavor to this year's championship. The American contingent, led by Oklahoma's Trey Canard and Colorado's Eli Tomac, have struggled to find the formula that will get them into the title hunt. Now, just outside our nation's capital, America's best have set to square off on this epic battleground with an extraordinary group of international talent at the MotoTees.com Buds Creek National.
Welcome to Southern Maryland. Mechanicsville, Maryland is the site of round 4 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. This is the MotoTees.com Buds Creek National. Hi everybody, I am Jeff Emmy and I'm joined by Davey Coombs this week. Jason Weigandt is out. His wife Elise just had their first baby girl, Lily. And Aaron Bates will be joining us a little bit later on. So Davey, in the 250 class, the story has been the foreign riders.
Absolutely. It's like we have a global contingent at the top of the charts. You have Christophe Pourcel, our points leader. Tyla Rattray hails from South Africa. He's a former world champion like Pourcel. And then you have Dean Wilson. These guys are really setting the pace up front. But even under the pro circuit tent, everyone is following Pourcel, the Frenchman. He's our points leader. The question with this race being the closest to our nation's capital is which American rider is going to step up and defend the flag from this foreign invasion?
Well, there certainly is some talented riders in there, but I think that you have to look towards Justin Barcia, Geico Power Sports Honda. He was cheated a little bit last week at High Point. He won the first moto convincingly, smashed the header pipe at the start of the second race, had no power in the engine. Also, you look at young Eli Tomac here. Can he rebound after some bad races after winning the opening round? And of course, their other teammate here on Geico Power Sports Honda, Trey Canard, seasoned veteran in this class. Time for him to step up and get it done. And the Yamaha rider of Broc Tickle, DNA Shred Sticks Yamaha.
Let's take a look at the 411 here on the Buds Creek track, one of the most popular stops in American motocross. This is the 250 class. We have 2 motos, 40 riders each. Each moto, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. And again, this is round 4 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championships.
And Davey, let's take a look at the track here at Buds Creek.
Well, you go off the start, it's long, a little bit downhill, off-camber, left-hander, then a real nice rhythm section. You get into the back, up some of these really steep hills, always off-camber and always very wide here at Buds Creek.
Yeah, 3 things about this track. The layout has stayed consistent, always the off-cambers. Of course, these huge jumps that they have here, the big uphill double where we've seen Henry have an injury, and of course, Henry Hill, one of the classic obstacles in American motocross. Well, let's take a look at the highlights from Moto 1. It's already in the books, and when the gate dropped to the first turn,
Eli Tomac came out around the outside, and then Christophe Pourcel immediately battling with him. And then Max Anstie, the British kid, comes in, sneaks under Tomac, takes over.
Yeah, just an incredible ride for Anstie. And watch, Barcia here gets on the throttle, loses the rear tire, gives up 4 or 5 positions. But that's not the last we would hear of Justin Barcia.
Yeah, and Jake Weimer, who we've all been waiting for to join the guys in front of the pack on that Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki team, he goes off the track. He's down and out.
And he had trouble getting the bike going, but the battle for third continued. It was just Eli Tomac who was putting in such a tremendous ride at the beginning. Tyla Rattray coming from way behind picks him off.
But the thing about coming from way behind is if Christophe Pourcel is up front from the start, Jeff, he is really, really tough to beat.
And then watch this here, same corner where Barcia goes down, Anstie goes down, pushing the front end, gives up 3 or 4 spots and almost gets together there with Dean Wilson. And at the checkered flag, once again, Christophe Pourcel. What a nice whip to celebrate the Moto 1. And look at the respect there. Pourcel and Barcia not always getting along well, but certainly shaking hands there. So let's take a look at the results here from Moto 1. Christophe Pourcel on top, Tyla Rattray, Justin Barcia.
Dean Wilson is fourth, Will Hahn fifth, and then Max Anstie, you see him down there in eighth. Check out what happened. He actually finished seventh, but then he lost a spot because we saw this very early in the race. Anstie's number 48 on the DNA Shred Sticks Yamaha.
This is Moto 1 first lap right here. Gets to the inside of those yellow track markers. Not supposed to be there, and even at the top of your screen you see 3 or 4 riders following along with.
Yeah, Jake Weimer was also docked 1 position along with Anstie, and Vince Freeze actually got knocked out 6 positions. He cut the track 6 times.
It was fast. Let's go down to Aaron Bates for a Progressive pre-race report.
The number 49 of Will Hahn currently sits 9th overall in the point standing, but he just scored the first top 5 finish in his outdoor career during that first moto. He said he's not exactly sure what it was that made the difference, but they did adjust the shock during this week, so hopefully that was the key for success. He plans on doing it again during moto number 2.
Hahn was rocking the first moto, Davey. He was on the gas. He didn't get the start he needed, but man, did he move forward.
He needs one of those hole shots like he got twice in Hangtown on the Lucas Oil. Troy Lee designs Honda. The card is sideways, and the second moto up and running here from Budds Creek. And it is Wilbur Hahn. Look at that.
And he holds it to the line. Will Hahn, Troy Lee Honda grabs the hole shot here in Moto 2.
Wilbur Hahn, then you see it looks like Blake Wharton and Justin Barcia, and then you got one of those Pro Circuit Kawasaki's in the middle. So Hahn does exactly what he needed to do and exactly what Aaron said down on the start.
And across the start-finish line, it's Hahn, Wilson, Wharton, Barcia, Weimer with a great start. And your Moto 1 winner, Pourcel in 6th, Rattray 8th.
Coming up over the big hill, Wilbur Hahn out front. 5th in that first moto. And you see the hay bales, yeah.
Nobody cut that.
The hay bales out there where Anstie, Weimer, and Freeze got docked in that first moto, but right now you have Hahn out front, then you have Dean Wilson, who's been one of the biggest surprises, I think, this year, and then Wharton and Barcia, the Geico Power Sports Honda team, running 3rd and 4th, and then Pourcel, look out, he is in 5th.
Wow, look at all of the competition. How can you really go, okay, this guy's going to win the overall? Not at this point. There's so much racing to be had here in Budds Creek, Maryland. And this track, some of the lines are changing. The lines have pushed out from the 450 moto that we've already had. Lines are going to change here. I'm telling you, they have kept the track in fantastic condition. Let's take a look at the keys to the race for Justin Barcia. Grab the whole shot. Didn't quite do that, but he's got a great start setting him forward. Lead, don't follow. He needs to get past these guys and get gone. And of course, being an American, he needs to defend the flag, Davey. He's got to bring the old red, white, and blue home for us, right?
He's got the Scottish rider. Dean Wilson's the only international rider ahead of him, but right behind him, look out, the Frenchman, Christophe Pourcel, and number 28, Tyla Rattray from South Africa, 2nd in the first moto. Those two gentlemen are the ones that are going to be thinking about the overall once this moto gets into the nitty-gritty.
Oh, that was close there between the teammates. Wharton got a little sideways. See, Barcia just muscling his teammate out of the way. He can't see this in his helmet. He has the keys to the race there. I think he's using those.
And that puts him up in the 3rd. So Barcia getting aggressive twice. The 2nd time making contact with Blake Wharton.
Well, and he also knows if there's, the only green bike in front of him, there, if the 108, well, let's take a look at this replay. Watch how he just gets in there and squares him up. Look, he's already on the gas.
That's beautiful. Jeff, is that too aggressive for a teammate?
No, that's what it takes to win motos, overalls, and championships, and if that's what he has to do, he's got to go for it. Now, he didn't take him out. He didn't sweep the front wheel or anything like that, but, hey, you leave the door open. But Barcia wants it. He's so hungry for the wins.
I can hear him over-revving. I can hear him over-revving from the other side of the track.
Hey, whatever gets it done, if this Factory Connection team can keep the engines together, let him do whatever he wants, right? As long as he's winning the races. Uh-oh.
That's Darren Durham of the Honda of Troy team in the pits. He come in early. Darren from right up the road in Pennsylvania. I know he's got a lot of laps in here at Budds Creek, but this does not bode well for his effort.
Yeah, and they're looking at something maybe on the back of the bike, but no problem for this Honda rider here. Will Hahn, 49, Troy Lee Honda.
There you see Dean Wilson starting to get close. Now, Dean Wilson is a guy looking for redemption. We've seen what happened in Texas a couple times. Mistook what the checkered flag was at the end, who was behind, who was a lapper, was it 5.6 seconds or 56 seconds? He gave a win away. You know, now that he's back up there, there's no way he's going to stop charging until this thing's over.
I want you guys to watch Dean Wilson specifically here as they come down to this. Is a 2-inch shock better than a 12-inch shock? No. Watch how he comes down into these bumps here. Watch when he comes down the hill. He's got such an incredible technique. How he keeps his knees in on the bike, squeezes the bike with his legs, lets his upper body remain loose. I mean, he does the whole thing with his low body.
You know, what's funny is
just incredible.
Wilbur Hahn was one of the guys that they were looking at to be that fourth member of Mitch Payton's Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki team. They were also looking at Blake Baggett, and they took Dean Wilson. A lot of people kind of questioned that because he was an unknown talent from Canada by way of Scotland. And now you see him, look at that,
look at that
inside. I told you if he got close to the lead, he would be going for it. But Dean Wilson was kind of a dark horse pick for Mitch Payton, and he paid off with some fantastic Supercross rides, and then he almost won that national in Texas, and now he's leading the way here at Budds Creek in the second 250 moto.
What a pass, Dean Wilson. He is motivated right now, driven, and man, that moto that he gave up in Texas is going to haunt him until he wins an overall. Well, stay with us. More racing here in the 250 class from Budds Creek. Dean Wilson is your leader. Can he hold on to the finish?
Welcome to...
Look at the United States Naval Academy right up the road in Annapolis, Maryland, but we are down at Budds Creek Raceway in Mechanicsville, Maryland, and right now we've got a Scottish kid out front. By way of Canada, Dean Wilson on the Pro Circuit Kawasaki, a great pass on Wilbur Hahn for the lead, and now our second place rider is Justin Barcia. So the damage starting to affect Wilbur Hahn. He had that great start, but now he's letting this guy get away, Jeff.
Well, we're taking a look at the lap times. Wilson a 2:03 flat, Barcia a 2:03.8. Let's take a look at this replay. This is Blake Morton, who was setting in fourth.
See that loose soil, Jeff? We've been seeing it a problem all day. We saw both Anstie go down as well as Justin Barcia, and that time it caught up to Blake Wharton and cost him.
Yeah, and that looked like that was on the Henry double going up the hill. But how about Barcia here? On the move, consistent right now, just putting down some great laps, staying with Wilson. Hahn staying right in there also. Pourcel now sitting fourth, just a little bit back, and Rattray rounding out the top five.
You got to think that the two veterans in this class, Christophe Pourcel and Tyla Rattray, both former world champions. They've got a lot of laps under their belts as professional racers. They're going to probably let this race come to them, but as we've seen with Dean Wilson down in Texas, he can get away. And with Barcia coming after him, I have a feeling these guys are going to keep moving forward and pick up the pace as the track, as you can see, gets rougher and gnarlier as this race goes on.
Well, and young Wilbur Hahn here, he can finish off the second moto pretty well. He's fit. I'm telling you, the 377, he was unstoppable earlier today, and he rode that first moto with ease. I talk a lot about being efficient with your energy and with your riding style. Right now, you see him getting a little bit looser because now a sense of urgency is setting in. But the fact that he was efficient with his energy and he made it look easy the first moto, he didn't exert a lot of energy. Is that going to allow him to have more energy in reserves here for the second moto?
Well, Jeff, you know he rides so fluid and so smooth. He's a modern-day JMB or Kevin Windham or even, you know, motocross
no, Kevin
fans.
Windham's still here.
Yeah. Right. Well, as far as his style on the bike, it is textbook, and he saves a lot of energy. But, you know, we never really see him push because he's a guy that will settle for third when third is what the race is going to give him. Now, Tyla Rattray, on the other hand, he's much more... Oh, I think he almost stalled right there. You see Broc Tickle on the DNA Shred Sticks Yamaha coming up behind him. Rattray looked like he overbroke, you know, or is that the right word?
No,
he cut the engine?
He came in a little hot, couldn't quite get the Kawasaki stopped. And fortunate Looked like the front wheel was going to get grabbed by that rut, but fine piece of riding to save it after he made a little mistake.
Now, Broc Tickle is one of these guys we've been talking about showing flashes of brilliance. He had a great second moto down in Freestone in Texas, and he has been all year long moving up closer and seeming to get more confidence. And I guess it's one of those things, Jeff, would a Moto win catapult this kid into the elite ranks of this class?
Oh, it certainly was. It certainly would. He's been close, and I tell you, you progress more throughout the championship than you do, let's say, in the off season, where you're going to try to put in all the extra work and be in the gym and on your bicycle and doing all these extra laps and working on your technique and lap times. A rider matures more during the championship, and that's why sometimes guy comes in as a rookie. You know, Eli Tomac, you know, he's never even raced this class. Well, by the end of the series, he's already won an overall, you know, and can possibly be champion. So it happens, and it seems like that it happens overnight, but it's the span of 24 motos.
Now, Jake Weimer in your picture right now, he is the AMA West Region Supercross champion, but he's got some outdoor work to do, no doubt. So we'll get ready to go for a break. When we come back, we will take a look at exactly what Jake Weimer went through last year here at Budds Creek. You can see the rain. Trust me, this is going to be good. A look back at Budds Creek 2009.
It was a
Budds Creek, 09. I was thinking about pulling off a middle race and going and getting a canoe. And we're pedaling around the track with a canoe. Because that's how much water was. You started to see, I saw things starting to float away. I saw creatures floating away. I saw hay bales floating away. I thought I was going to start floating away.
I know this is HD and everything, but it's so much worse in person than what we're showing, and it looks bad. So you know it's just horrible out there.
I think we probably would have gone faster around the track on a jet ski than on our motorbikes. I mean, it was pretty crazy. I mean, we hardly ever get races like that. I mean, I've had quite a few of those in Europe, but I mean, I think to have it here is something special.
Look how much water is on the track compared to the 450 moto.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago. We had
No.
a 450 race earlier, but now it's just a lake out there. And yeah, getting these bikes to the finish with all this water we're going to suck into the airbox is going to be very difficult. And if we dump you, maybe that's what you hope for.
You know, it's just crazy, that whole, you know, we were going up and down the hills, and there was rivers coming down the hills, hay bales floating. I mean, they actually called the race, I think, 10, 15 minutes sooner. It was just out of control.
And the red flag, are they going to call it?
I had a feeling.
I think they're going to
don't see
call
how
it.
they can continue.
You know, the amount of water that was on the track and the fans standing on the side of the track, and, you know, probably one of the coolest experiences I've ever been through. And it was crazy because you didn't know if the bike was going to keep running, and there were just so many things that could have happened. But you know, definitely one of those days that I'll remember that one forever.
Well, Jake Weimer's proved that he can win here in the wet, but can he win in the dry? We might find out later, but right now it's about his teammate, Dean Wilson, your leader right now in the number 108 Kawasaki, and there's Justin Barcia, and it's getting close.
Yeah, look at that interval there, less than half a second. As you can see, Barcia was over a second faster that last time around. Onsets third, Pourcel fourth, Rattray rounding out the top five, but man, what a ride here. Barcia is charging.
Just a couple years ago, these guys were battling at the big amateur races across the country, places like the Mini-O's, the World Mini, Ponca City, Loretta Lynn's, of course, and now leading a national. And it looked like Barcia went a little hard right there. Well, these guys grew up racing together on mini bikes. Look at this, Tyla Rattray is just past his old GP competitor, Christophe Pourcel, and that's big, Jeff. Pourcel won our first moto, Rattray was second, and now that's a big shakeup, and it looks like Pourcel is starting to slip back a little bit.
We start to add up the points. It's looking like it's going to be really close between Barcia and Pourcel here, and Rattray all mixed in there together. And just as we are at the close to the halfway plus 2 laps, remember as amateurs, Wilson, Barcia here in the U.S., this would be about the whole race would be 15 to 20 minutes.
Exactly. Now take a look at, I'm sorry, Pourcel just doesn't look as aggressive. Is he taking a break, or do you think he's...
He can't take a break. Tickle's right there. Tickle and Weimer's not far behind either, only a couple seconds behind him. So this could be disastrous for the overall for Christophe Pourcel, who the flying Frenchman was just, he was on it the first moto. He was gone. And now here the second moto. But this has been the story this year for Pourcel. He's been able to win a moto every week, but he hasn't won both motos.
Well, I'm not convinced that something's not going on here, though. He's so smooth and fluid that it's hard to tell sometimes. And obviously he's staying abreast of Broc Tickle. But yeah, you know, I was planning on seeing them move forward together, but instead we're seeing Rattray move past as Broc Tickle now also starting to move up. He's the 20-year-old rider from North Carolina that we were talking about earlier. Maybe a moto win away from finding the confidence to run up front every time.
And as you take a look at the number 20 there, Broc Tickle, you only have to go back to Freestone when it was hot and humid and nasty. Tickle charged all the way to the finish. Remember, he passed Wilson in the final 30 feet to take second in Moto 2. So Tickle has got it at the end of the second moto. And that's going to be bad news here for Christophe Pourcel unless he gets on the gas.
Well, if you go back to Jake Weimer, who we just saw in that replay of Budds Creek 2009, possibly one of the wettest races in the history of American motocross. And, you know, his pro circuit teammates, Pourcel, Rattray, and Wilson have all consistently been up front in this series, and Weimer is just having trouble kind of pulling together, and so is this rider, Trey Canard.
Yeah, and what's interesting is in the West Coast Supercross that you've seen here on Speed is that, you know, Canard and Weimer were both two of the strongest riders in that whole competition, but here this summer, these guys are not getting it done. Their starts have not been there, and they're just not moving up as quick as they need to. But stay with us here for the remainder of Moto 2 from Budds Creek. We'll be back in a moment.
Sunday.
For the first time, Barcia, the world's greatest collector auction on Speed, comes to Orange County. Hundreds of restored and rare cars will be auctioned off to the highest bidders. Catch 3 days of live coverage with expert commentary. Barcia, Orange County, kicks off Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Speed.
Welcome back to Budds Creek, Maryland. Budds Creek MX Park, Moto 2. A little more than 11 minutes left, plus 2 laps, and right now it's the 108 of Dean Wilson, who is absolutely dominating Moto 2 here.
He's never been to this track before. I think that's an important key. He grew up as an amateur. He grew up in Canada after moving from Scotland, but he spent most of his time out on the West Coast. And, you know, they don't get a lot of time in these one-day programs to really learn a track, but he's been doing it ever since the start of the season.
Speaking of learning, couple races ago in Freestone, Wilson was in the same position. He decided to let his teammate by, thought that he was lapped, didn't kind of heat exhaustion, didn't know what was going on, got passed by Tickle at the finish. This is the moto where he can redeem himself.
I have no doubt. Now look at a battle for third. Wilbur Hahn, our early leader on the Troy Lee Designs Honda, is starting to get pressure from none other than Tyla Rattray, who, going back the last 4 motos of the series, he's been first, second, and second. Got him an overall win, the first of his AMA career here last week at the High Point National in Pennsylvania, and now he's starting to apply the same speed to this Budds Creek track. Second in the first moto, he is now closing in on Hahn for third, and he's starting to pull away from Christophe Pourcel. Holy smokes, look at that, Jeff. You're right. This might be a chance for redemption for Dean Wilson.
Wow, it is so close. Look at that, 43 to 40 in the top 4 riders. This race isn't over, though. We still have 10 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Anything can happen. We've seen that happen here today, earlier in the first moto. But what a redemption that would be for Dean Wilson. But I got a feeling this Rattray guy is going to, he's moving forward. He's going to pressure Will Hahn here.
The heat will not get to Tyla Rattray, no matter how hot it gets in Southern Maryland. It'll never be as hot as it probably is in South Africa. You know, of course, Tyla grew up racing there, moved to Europe at a very young age, and you know, it's just been a neat career for him. He won a world championship, moved to America to join the mighty Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki team, and now look at this. He's starting to work on Wilbur Hahn and he's in the thick of it for this championship.
Well, and Will Hahn, he's actually a Kansas native along with myself, so come on, Wilbur, let's do it.
You may have just jinxed him.
Oh, Rattray gets by on the outside. No, Hahn stays in it.
He does. He held the line there. Rattray got out of the good line on the inside. He got in that loose the rocks and the gravel you were talking about earlier. And now here comes Rattray. Tries an outside line. Very aggressive move. Can he hold the line?
He does. Tyla Rattray moving up into third. That was just being so aware. He just knew that Hahn was going to check up through those bumps and just blasted around that outside up over that tunnel jump.
Well, if you've got your calculus out or your calculator trying to figure out how this affects things, it doesn't. Dean Wilson still controls his own destiny right now. He is your leader. Fourth in the first moto would beat the 2-3 of Tyla Rattray, who's your third place rider. You see him coming up to lap one of the Tedder boys, two Tedder brothers in this race, both Dakota and Miles. And there you see a guy off the side of the track. So Wilbur starting to fight back on the number 49 Honda.
Here on this classic off-camber turn. If you walk that, I mean, it's steep right there. And then just, once again, another Budds Creek classic straightaway coming down. Back in the old 125 days, this uphill double, that was so hard because they used to really disc up the track deep through there. At the 125s, you could just barely pull up that double. But nowadays...
Yeah, now kids on CRF 150s are clearing that.
I mean, especially here on the Pro Circuit Kawasaki, have a reputation for being one of the best bikes out there. So, well, let's see if Dean Wilson can finish this thing off in Budds Creek and possibly get the monkey off his back and win the overall. We'll be back for more action on speed. Stay with us.
45 minutes up the 5 from Budds Creek Raceway here in Mechanicsville, Maryland. And you take a look at our leader, Dean Wilson. Now, this is a classic American motocross success story. He grew up in Scotland, he moved to Canada, then off to California, and now he's leading round 4 of the Lucas Oil AMA Motocross Championships, the second moto. And as it stands right now, Dean Wilson with a 4-1 would be our overall winner. And like you said, he's got a monkey on his back after what happened in Texas. Let's take a look at the progressive whole shot replay, Jeff.
When the gate dropped for Moto 2, you see the 40 fastest riders in the U.S. drag racing down. But look at this, the 49. Will Hahn on that Troy Lee Honda. Watch him hug it tight here. Wharton tried to get a piece, but crossed the line. Progressive whole shot goes to Will Hahn.
And you got to give Erin Bates credit. She's spotted that one and called it from the start. Dean Wilson out front, got the shirt untucked. It's a hot day here. Let's see what kind of lead he's got over Justin Barcia. There's Barcia, the second place rider. Barcia seemed like he was going to be aggressive and try to fight over the lead, but right now, I don't know.
Yeah, that was the keys to the race. Lead don't follow. He hasn't been able to get there and defend the flag. Letting the Scot
well, right now,
run away with it.
Right now, he would tie on overall with a 3-2 compared to Wilson's 4-1, more or less. But when you look at the points, the 4-1 is worth more. But I think that for Barcia, he needs to put two good motos together. We talked about that earlier. The consistency thing is killing the kid.
Yeah, and this would be, consistent. This is solid. This is exactly what he needed to do. Okay, keep it on two wheels here. Don't make any mistakes. Rattray's right there. He's only about 5 seconds behind right now. Wilson about 5 seconds ahead of him. So each rider's got a little gap. You see Rattray at the top of your screen there. And this really is the kicker for the overall is where Barcia is. If he makes a mistake and Rattray gets by, changes the whole game. Rattray's your winner.
Barcia won our first moto at High Point last week and then got dinged up on the first lap of the second moto. He's won 1 overall in his career. It came at Southwick last year on a very muddy day. Quite the contrast from what we have today. And on that same day at Southwick, Tyla Rattray got his first ever moto win while racing here in the United States. And then last week, his first overall.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting here. If you think back to the moto, first moto, Pourcel, Rattray, Barcia, Wilson, Hahn, we've got the same 5 riders mixed up, a little bit different order in there, but still the same 5 riders have dominated this track here in Maryland.
Well, look how rough it is. Look how wide it is. It's hard to luck into a good finish on a track like this. We know that Wilbur Hahn was 5th in the first moto. He led here briefly, and now he's doing a fine job of riding in 4th. And you know what? Our first moto winner, Christophe Pourcel, is not really gaining any time on Will Hahn, who's the younger of the Hahn brothers. And, you know, this would be a career day for him as far as the outdoor series goes.
Taking a look at the lap times this time around, Wilson was once again at a 2:05. Barcia, 2:05, little bit quicker, couple tenths quicker. Rattray a 2:04.7, so he's making up a little bit of time on Barcia. Hahn at a 2:05, and Pourcel, when he comes across the stripe, was at a 2:05 also.
I'm still mystified at why Pourcel is not riding faster. You know, we've seen him put down some amazing laps. You know, I guess that's why he's, you know, we call him the enigma. You know, you just don't know sometimes with what's going on with him, because he rides smooth, he rides fluid, he holds his cards very close to the vest. Here you see him coming off the Lucas Oil drop-off. He is in 5th. He is your points leader. That's why he's got the red plate. But right now, he's not riding like the same guy who dominated that first moto. And I don't know, maybe it's the heat.
Well, this could be part of his game plan. See him taking a look back to see who's back there, who's coming up behind him. But his game plan could be to ride every moto at his pace. No matter what that pace is, I'm going to stay in my comfort zone. I'm not going to get out, risk a crash, which could risk an injury. Okay, I'm not going to override the track or the bike. I'm just going to do what I can do, and it's going to be enough. So far, that's been a great game plan.
Well, you just saw Broc Tickle go off the Rockstar Energy Drink drop-off. We are waiting for last year's Budds Creek winner, and there he is, Jake Weimer, and not having the same success in the dry as he did in the mud last year. But you know what? When he gets back to that truck, those pro circuit guys, he's going to see all of his teammates in front of him, and I have a feeling it's got to motivate him. You know, he's a champion. He won the West Region Supercross Series. And speaking of champions, Trey Canard, same way. Yet to win an outdoor national, hasn't been able to put it together yet here on the Lucas Oil AMA Tour.
Yeah, and one of the reasons here, this second moto, Canard's running 8th. Last lap was a 2:08. Leader was a 2:05. That's the story. At least here late in the second moto, he's been off the pace. Wharton, Canard's teammate, running a 2:08 also.
Wharton, of course, fell in the early going after having a great start. He was up there vying for the lead, and now he's just trying to keep it within the top 10. Your 9th place rider here in the second 250 moto from Budds Creek. Moved back up to the front of the pack, and Dean Wilson still leading Barcia.
And look at the top of your screen. Countdown clock is on, so they've got this lap plus 2 more to go. Wilson out front, just so fluid, making no mistakes at this point. This has been his moto all the way. Well, we're going to take a little break here, and when we come back, we're going to see if Dean Wilson can finish this thing off. Budds Creek, Maryland, 2 more laps to go for Dean Wilson. Let's take a look here at the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross. Next show, Thunder Valley, Lakewood, Colorado, Sunday, June 27th, noon Eastern Time, only on Speed.
Holy smokes, Dean Wilson getting a little out of control there, but he's holding on to it. Dean Wilson, what a neat story this kid has. We visited him a little bit earlier. Check this out.
I started to get racing when I lived in Scotland. My dad bought me an LEM50 for Christmas when I was 4 years old, and ever since then, I loved riding and started racing when I was 8 years old on a KX60, and all started from there. I really wanted to ride for Mitch, so I just went in there and I went and talked to him and told him that I'd love to ride for his team, and obviously it's the best team out there. And I didn't really find out until 2 months after that, so I really didn't know if I had to ride that. I got the opportunity to ride for his team, and it was a great day that day, that's for sure. I feel like I'm pretty good on the track when it gets rough and technical, and I feel like I pick good lines, and I think my weakness is just, I got to stay strong in the whole moto and not, focus on the riders behind me, just focus ahead and it should be good. For outdoors, I'm really just going to go for it and try my best and, be on the box.
Well, I'll tell you what, right now, Dean Wilson, his fate is in the hands of his teammate, number 28, Tyla Rattray. This is the battle for second, but it's effectively the battle for the overall win. Justin Barcia, 17 on the outside. If Rattray, oh, he goes off into the banners. Rattray trying to make a pass for second that would have been the overall, but as it stands, Dean Wilson's the leader. Justin Barcia is second and Rattray in third. And Jeff, that mistake may have cost him the national.
He was so close. He was starting to put the pressure on Barcia. Went for it, went off the side of the track there. And as you can see, top of your screen, Dean Wilson's already hit the white flag. Barcia's by. One more lap for Tyla Rattray.
Rattray trying to make a pass there. It would have given him the points for the overall. Instead, he gets out into the banners, and now he's just trying to salvage third. And as it stands, take a look at what happened to Rattray. He goes to the inside. Jeff, did he run out of real estate?
Well, he got his weight to the right side, and it's actually the hill's going away. Watch, he gets into those Cherubi's repeater banners, and just, I mean, he almost didn't get back onto the track there because that berm just falls off.
So Wilson, now the recipient of one at the end of the race. We saw him give away a Moto win to Tyla Rattray, and now he's half a lap away. He is not going to make that mistake again.
He looked behind him, but I guarantee he's not going to slow down this time. What redemption it would be here, just a couple of rakes after.
You see him coming out of that corner, hitting that chop. Half a lap to go. Dean Wilson. Let's go to the Geico replay. Check this out. This was early in the moto, going past Wilbur Hahn. They whip it out different directions. He holds it on longer. Times like that, it's just all courage and throttle, Jeff.
He definitely scrubbed that finish line jump, and he set it up in those rollers just before that, but that was your Geico Power Sports pass of the race. And so, off Henry Hill.
Yeah, Henry Hill. 1/2 lap to go for Dean Wilson. You know, there are people in Canada that are going to want to give him the first Canadian national win, so be it. There are people in Scotland who definitely are going to give him the first win for a Scottish rider. Dean Wilson, 2 weeks after giving away a national twice, is now going to win the second moto here at Budds Creek. Barcia will be second, Rattray's third. Now he slows down.
There it is. Dean Wilson got the hand in the air. He can see the checkered flag this time, and he's not giving it up for no one. Your winner of Moto 2 and overall in Budds Creek is Dean Wilson. Justin Barcia comes around a close second, followed by Rattray. Will Hahn in fourth. Pretty tight moto there at the end of that.
Oh, absolutely. What drama. Rattray looked like he was going to make a move. Going to make a move on Rattray. Now, you're wondering, where is Pourcel? Check it out.
Pourcel down. This is after that double. This is on the last lap. And he came by the finish, 6th place. But that is one happy Canadian, Scotsman, American. Bottom line, he's your winner here at Budds Creek. Stay with us for the podium. Budds Creek MX Park, Mechanicsville, Maryland. Site of round 4 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. And what a treat we had today in the 250 class of racing. Let's take a look at the Lucas Oil race recap.
You see teammates Justin Barcia getting out there and getting aggressive with Blake Wharton. We thought that would be a pass that would really make a difference for the overall, but this actually was Dean Wilson coming through sideways, passing Wilbur Hahn, our early leader, take over the lead. From there, he would never be headed, takes the checkered flag, and it's the first AMA national win of his young career. And right now, Aaron Bates is down in the winner's circle with a very happy winner, Dean Wilson.
Very happy indeed. Dominated that second moto. Dean wins today's race, all about redemption after what happened in the heat and humidity in Texas.
Yeah, everybody knew what happened. You know, it was a stupid mistake on my part, and finally made it happen here. I had a rough first moto, and you know, I knew I had the speed. I just need to, you know, have some luck with me too. And you know, I couldn't do it without Monster Energy Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, my mechanic Paul, parents, everybody that's just been cheering for me. I really appreciate it.
Is today's overall win an indication of what's to come for the remainder of the season?
Oh, who knows? This class is crazy, man. Anyone can win. I just showed that get a good start, I can win the overall. So, you know, that's definitely the plan, and just going to keep working hard and see how it goes.
You hydrated so much that you actually have to go to the restroom right now. How bad do you got to go?
Yeah, it is so hot here. It's crazy, and man, I drank a lot of water, and man.
Get out of here. We know you need to go. Congratulations on an overall victory.
Let's take a look here at Toyota moving forward schedule. On the 27th, we're going to be in Lakewood, Colorado, noon Eastern time on speed. July 4th, Buchanan, Michigan, 4 p.m. Eastern. July 18th, Millville, Minnesota, 4 p.m. Eastern. And July 24th, Washougal, Washington, 8 p.m. Eastern. Of course, all of it on speed.
4 races, 4 winners so far in the Lucas Oil AMA Motocross Championship. Eli Tomac won it in Hangtown, Christophe Pourcel in Texas, Tyla Rattray in Pennsylvania, and today in Budds Creek, Maryland, Dean Wilson. We'll be right back.
Sunday.
Welcome back to Budds Creek MX Park here, Southern Maryland. You see the fans starting to file their way out, but there's also fans staying around the podium. And let's take a look here at the overall. You see Dean Wilson, that 4-1, gives him 43 points, and he is on top. Justin Barcia second, Tyla Rattray round out the top 3, and Aaron is with young Justin Barcia.
Justin Barcia said that he wanted to better last year's performance, which was a 4th place overall. You did just that with a 2nd place. Justin, take us through how challenging today was, how hot, or how was the heat and the humidity, and does it compare to Texas?
Yeah, you know, Aaron, it is so hot here. I think it's just like Texas. The humidity is gnarly here, way worse than Texas. So, you know, I'm just happy to be here. My team, they did a great job. The Power Sports Honda, AMA Pro Circuit, Dunlop team, just an awesome job.
At a certain point, you seem to get pretty aggressive with your teammate Blake Wharton. When it comes down, racing's racing. Do you have to do what you need to do?
Yeah, you know, I didn't hit him or nothing. I just had to make my move as fast as I could so I could stay with the front runners.
Great job on today. Congratulations.
Fuel your passion for racing with Speed Mobile. Get the latest motorcycle racing news and results as soon as they become available right to your phone. Text Moto to Speed 3 for Speed Motorcycle Racing text alerts. And Erin Bates is back down on the podium, and now she has Tyla Rattray.
Tyla Rattray is cooling down. He just dumped a bucket of ice over into your hat, then straight onto your head. Tyla, you were the one guy that was kind of doing the heat and humidity dance coming in because you're acclimated to this sort of stuff. How bad were the conditions today?
Yeah, they were pretty tough. I mean, that second round, I just made it tough on myself. I got a bad start and didn't push hard enough in the beginning, and that's when Dean and Barcia got away. But I mean, I came close today and tried to put a pass on Barcia and jumped off the track, and that cost me the win. If I had passed him, I would have won. But just going to keep working hard. Thank Monster, Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Parts Unlimited, Thor, Traxxas, Vans, my fiance, my parents, just everyone. Thank you.
Take us through today's track. Very challenging, a lot of obstacles, technical sections, off-cambered corners. Talk about the shadowing and if that played a factor as well.
Well, that didn't really bother me. I mean, the track was just gnarly rough, and the start cost me in that second moto. So that cost me the win too. So a little bit disappointed, but going to keep working hard and made, I think, like 1 point on Christophe, so that's good for the championship, and just going to keep working hard.
Let's take a look here at the series points. Christophe Pourcel still at the top, got a full moto lead over Tyla Rattray, but you see Dean Wilson in there, Pro Circuit Kawasaki 1, 2, 3.
And we talked about at the beginning of the show, Jeff, no American riders on the overall podium after 4 rounds. They've got to pick it up. But right now, it's all green in 1, 2, 3, and then it's all red 4, 5, 6.
Well, taking a look here at the podium, Justin Barcia enjoying the fruits of his efforts today, along with Tyla Rattray. Look at all those flags here. What a great day of racing, Davey.
It was a great day of racing. It seemed like everyone went home safely. The fans were very happy. We saw some great action. And I tell you what, this is the way American motocross should be. All the best riders in the world are here. Good stuff.
For Aaron Bates, Davey Coombs, I'm Jeff Emig. Congratulations to first-time winner Dean Wilson.